in the college and in relation to our national regulation, etc. It's hopefully going to commence in September 2024, and it's a 1-year full-time program for that academic year. Again, the two faculties, so two Faculty of Science and Health, and in my case, the Department of Nursing and Healthcare, in consultation with the Faculty of Engineering and Informatics, in particular the Department of Computer and Software Engineering. So for the next number of slides, we're going to look at the kind of the overview of the program, the aim of the program, how the program is going to be delivered, the different modules that are involved in the program. We have a blended learning program approach, okay, and that's again important. So in terms of our full-time students from the international cohort, it's face-to-face, full-time 1-year academic, but there will be blended learning because in addition to full-time students, there will also be part-time students, primarily from the healthcare system in Ireland, okay, who will be using also a blended learning approach. And then finally, we'll look at opportunities in terms of employability once one has completed the program. Sorry?
We're all good, John. I'm just answering some of the questions on the chat. So if any of the questions come up, John, I'll come in to you on it.
That's great. Thank you, Endon. Okay, so the overall aim of the program is to enhance the postgraduate students' competencies, attitudes, and skill set with which to function effectively as healthcare leaders within a digital-enabled healthcare environment. And that's a really important aim. I think particularly in the current time, I think healthcare is going to be transformed by the utilization of digital health. And I touched on it already. It's not only kind of getting a theoretical underpinning around all of this, but it's also to develop your competencies. That's your skills, your knowledge, okay, to actually go back into the real world and to be able to make a real difference and real change in terms of the application of what you've learned. And that's critical because in the past, maybe we did a lot of theory and didn't really merge that theory into the practical environment, okay? And we would expect graduates of a master's program to be able to go back into their subject area or their practice area and contribute to making significant change. Enda touched on already, the program is very much underpinned by international guidance. So the WHO Health Organization, the document there is their digital health strategy for 2020-2025. And they've identified that digital health should be an integral part of health priorities and benefit people in a way that is ethical, safe, secure, reliable, equitable, and sustainability is important too. All those concepts will be discussed and explored right throughout the program, okay? Nationally, in the mention there as well, there's a very strong focus in terms of e-learning strategy. We have launched a healthcare strategy that's looking at the integration of healthcare systems between the hospital setting and the community setting. So again, that will be supported with digital and digital health. So again, it's also following our national picture. In terms of nationally, we have an All-Ireland Digital Capability Framework. Okay, and this is all Ireland, so Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. This document will be used going forward to underpin, I suppose, the rollout of the e-health strategy in Ireland. Okay, it's taken from the Australian healthcare system. I think importantly on this diagram, right in the middle, the person is, okay, and the person can be a member of the population, it can be a patient, it can be a client, it can be a customer, okay, but it should be all very much focused around our population, okay. Again, it should be safe, it should be quality and connected, and we'll talk about connected care, okay. I've touched on connectivity between the acute hospital and the community, but that can be broader, right into the person's home, which Enda will touch on. So there are 5 domains to this framework, and again, we were using this to underpin our program. So the whole issue of digital professionalism, okay, that's my personal identity, my digital identity, how I'm using technology to network, for example, the likes of LinkedIn, how I'm using technology to enhance my professionalism in terms of learning. Okay, leadership and advocacy. So leadership will be important in terms of the rollout of the digital health. So we need leaders who are able to transform, who are able to think about change. Advocacy in terms of the population. Okay, this feeds back into equality and equity, that everybody gets equal access and equal opportunity, and it provided with opportunities to learn about technology. We're conscious of things like the digital divide, etc. Data and information quality. Again, and Sheila will home in on this one again, but the importance of what data we're capturing, the labeling of the data, the standardization of data, what we do with the data when we collect it, how we interpret that data, and really important, how we use that data to make decisions in terms of the delivery of care, or to prioritize care, or to plan care. Information-enabled care, again, to deliver care, it has to be supported with good information. And the final domain there is the whole issue of technology and the various different aspects of technology that can be used to deliver healthcare. And that can be right to an electronic healthcare record in a hospital, to a sensor in somebody's home that monitors their activities. Okay, so it's quite a broad. So they're the 5 domains. And what feeds into that then are the professional standards. So people that have a professional regularity role, that will feed into it. Workplace setting, so the various procedures and policies in the workplace will feed back into this. And then the individual's role in terms of delivering healthcare. So again, this is a really important framework. I think it's helping to standardize across the country in terms of the rollout of eHealth, and it also helps to underpin the program. In terms of the program, okay, so semester 1 would run from September to December, and we'll talk about the modules in a moment. Semester 2 is from January to May, and these are distinctive pockets of education. So the modules will take place in September to December, will be examined, assessed in that at the end of that period. Semester 2, likewise, the modules in semester 2 will be delivered, assessed during that period, and semester 3 is the June to August period. Well, actual fact, the semester 3, that module, which I'll talk about in a moment, does run right through from semester 1 to semester 3. So it's a full year from September to the following August. In terms of our modules, okay, you can see here on this slide, we have the semester on the left, and we have the module title in the middle column, and the weighting of the assessment on the right-hand column. I'll talk to you about the 3 modules that I'm particularly involved in, and then I'll pass you over to Enda and Sheila to talk about the remaining modules. So in semester 1, first module there is research methods in healthcare. Again, this module will look at the philosophical underpinnings to research, the different methodologies that we use in research, primarily quantitative and qualitative research, the process involved in undertaking research, the ethical principles in terms of research, and the ability to, I suppose, at this stage, find the literature, critique the literature, and question what you find in the literature. So that would be underpinning. Whilst that module is standalone, I think the research methods cross really all of the modules, because everything we do, as we now know, has to be underpinned with evidence and with research. The next module I'll talk about is digitalization in the modern healthcare system. Again, this module will look very much at healthcare systems, both nationally here in Ireland, but internationally. Look at how health systems operate and how they integrate with each other. We will be looking at I suppose, the policies that underpin, particularly digital health in the health system and the integration of digital health in the health system, the challenges that will evolve as part of this process, the whole concept of digital health, of e-health, which are very broad umbrella terms, right down to telemedicine, etc. So all of the concepts around the digitalization or the introduction of digital health in the modern healthcare system. The other modules in semester 1, Sheila and Enda will refer to. In semester 2, okay, so that's that period from January until May. Module I'd be involved in there is quality, governance, and leadership in digital health. Again, once we learn about it, we also have to know that, be able to lead that big change in terms of transformation. So we'll be looking at some of the principles of leadership, change and change management, how change can be facilitated and encouraged, maybe what are some of the potential barriers to change, and how we might address them. Quality and governance, again, the whole issue around the evidence base behind what we're doing. And governance will look at the management from a quality point of view in terms of safety, in terms of regulation, in terms of safety, security, data security, etc. So again, a really important module in terms of, I suppose, the rolling out of digital health. And finally, there's semester 3, that's the generating evidence for the healthcare setting. I should have said the previous 6 modules are 10 credit modules. The generating evidence module is a 30 credit. That's a significant module, which involves a project work. It is semester 3, but that module begins in semester 1. And I would say this is the capstone project. Okay, it will be just 2 broad elements to it. It will be a significant piece of work in terms of an iterative or a systematic review, or it will also be a project based. So we will be working with colleagues. We'll be looking at potential projects that potential participants or graduate students could engage in. So there will be a significant piece of research in this module. This module will be a thought module obviously as well, but there'll also be supervision. So from the beginning, the students are identified as a one-to-one supervisor who will work with the student through the whole year in terms of the process, in terms of the research process, the collection of information, etc. There's also an element of dissemination to this module, okay, where we ask students to prepare a manuscript for publication. And I think this is important because very often we do research and it sits on a shelf, maybe isn't put into proper use. So we're preparing you for putting the information that you've collected or the research that you've done into a draft potential document for publication. And Sheila and Enda will maybe talk a little bit more about that as well. Okay, so they're the modules that I am involved in. I'm going to hand over to Sheila, and Enda in relation to the modules that they're involved in from the software end.
Perfect.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hand over to Sheila and Enda.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
So Sheila, just
you're seeing my screen now, right?
That's perfect. And Sheila, maybe just while you're talking as well, if any of the guys want to type in on the chat, if you have any questions at all, just let us know. And if you just if we just got a view on maybe where the guys were calling in from as well, that could be really good.
Yeah, perfect. If there's anything extra you want on the modules or whatever, just ask us as we go.
You want to go into presentation mode there, Sheila, for the PowerPoint?
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so I suppose from our end, we're looking at PBL or problem-based learning, and I suppose in that generating evidence for the healthcare setting, we're aiming as much as possible for real-world data scenarios and potentially to have some prototypes or some demos for those projects. So, for example, I suppose some previous projects I'd have looked at on another data analysis and visualization course here, we'd have looked at data sets, say for example from Chernobyl, where we would have been looking at radioactivity levels, time series analysis for contamination levels, so like the impact on human health for such a disaster, like environmental impacts and so on, and that we'd be able to tie that in, John, into generating evidence and maybe run alongside your type of project in that as well. Other projects we'd looked at maybe opioid use in the States or COVID data sets in recent times. So there are, I suppose, examples of data sets we'd have worked with. Students brought their own particular workplace scenarios as well, depending on, their own work placement. And is there anything you'd like to add on the projects?
Yeah, I suppose you touched on it there, Sheila. It's really just practically based. What we're trying to do is to make an impact. As John said, the whole healthcare sector, technology has the potential to have a real impact in a sector that, financially can be quite constrained. And we've got a real opportunity here to improve patient outcomes, through the use of technology. And from our point of view, and I know, Sheila, you'd be involved in a whole range of different projects in this space, that's probably what's interesting. we may do projects in areas like network management or